Hello, soulmates. Welcome to class. My name is Justice. Welcome to Joannis Academy. So, in this class, we're going to be learning the back side of the skirt you saw on the thumbnail. This is a very simple design, and if you would like to know how it is done, please kindly watch to the end to get the best part of it. So, here I'm going to use a small measurement to show us how it's going to be done. I'm not going to sew it. I believe that if you get the drafting, you can always sew it as usual. So here I have my basic skirt, a miniature basic skirt. This is the back block because our design is going to concentrate on the back. So here I have the CB and here I have the side, the center back and the side, the back side. Okay, so I'm going to make this longer because this is short. I need it to be long, as in a long skirt. So on this part, I've drawn the length where I want it to be using this and measuring the length of the skirt, the long skirt that I'm going to be working with. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, since we're only working, this is for the front, but since we're only working for the back, I'm going to cut this part out. I'm cutting this part out. Before I forget, this is the CB side and this is the center back and this is the side, CBS, center back side. Okay, I want to give it the shape that I need it to have, just like your normal skirt. In case you do not know how to draft a skirt this way, we have previous videos on how to draft a skirt. The link will be in the description box. Okay, so I have the center back here. This is the center back and this is the side. We're working on the center back. Now what I'm going to do is to measure where I need this back extension to start. Definitely it's going to be below or under the buttocks, below the hip line. So you have to measure where you actually want it to start rather, above the knee length and below the butt. Okay, so I want to assume you take the measurement and know where you want it to start. So I want to assume 3 inches below the hip line using this miniature, 3 inches below the hip line. This is where I want it to stop. Now the flare did not get to the side of the skirt. I mean the extension. Your normal skirt can be a bit flayed, can be a flare, but the back extension, which is what we're working on, did not get to the side, except you intentionally want it to get to the side. So it depends on how wide you need it to be, right? So from the center back, I'm going to measure 3 inches. For a bigger measurement, it's more than 3 inches. Okay, it's more than 3 inches. You can measure like 6 inches. This is something small and that's why I want to take it this way. Okay, so once I have where I'm going to start the flare, I have the size of the flare that, I mean where the flare is going to be. I'm going to mark it out. You can use something like this. You can use your free hand, whatever it is that you think can give you a nice shape. You can use your free hand to do it. This is what I will have, right? So I'm going to need to identify the upper parts and the lower parts and the CV, just to avoid confusion. Okay, just to avoid confusion, you can also place your balance mark. Balance mark is to indicate where each one is going to match up. Okay, you can indicate your balance mark. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to cut this out this way. You can see the way I've cut it out. This part is going to be attached to this, but then we need to flay it out, and that is the icing on this cake that we're making. So once I cut this out, I'm going to get my ruler and I'll mark lines. The lines can be this way, it can be straight, however you choose to mark it, it's okay. So I'm going to mark. You can give 1 inch interval, you can just mark however you desire, but you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be marking it this way. Okay, you can see the way I've marked it. There's no need labeling because I'm not going to cut everything out. So I'm going to cut in between the lines. The lines might not be as much as this. It could just be 3, it could just be 2, depending on what you need to achieve, and it's going to give you something beautiful as well. So I'll cut everything like this, but do not cut it out entirely because we're not trying to gather around it. We're not trying to gather around it. We need the flay on the lower part. We need it to um, flay out to become much on the lower part, like an attached something, like a tail, but then fuller than a tail. This one. Okay, so we have something like this. Like I said, we're going to cut through, but we're going to cut, but we're not going to cut through. So just make it in such a way that you can bring all of this out. So like I said, the lines might not be as much as this. It can just be something like this. Okay, let's put these two together. Let's put this one together, and it will be so. Right, so what I'm going to do now is to get a paper that is longer than this. Okay, so here I have another paper, and I'm going to place this on top. Now while you're doing this on your fabric, you might not need another paper. All you need is your fabric. Place this and you begin to cut, but to be on the safe side so that you don't make any mistake, you can actually get another paper, place it and pin it down or cut it so that you'll be able to know if you've actually gotten the right thing. So now that I've placed another paper and I've widened it to the extent that I want, you can decide to make it longer, you can decide to widen it more, however you choose to do. So remember that this part is where we're going to fix to this area so it doesn't have any gathers. But if you want it to have gathers, you can actually expand it. So it's just going to be fixed straight, right? This is the part that will be fixed to this. Now on this part is going to be the lower part, so you can actually decide to make it longer. So starting from here, that will match up with this part, it's going to be this way. That will match up with this part. We're going to extend it to this, something of this nature. Okay, like this. I hope my hand is okay. So on this part also, you can decide to extend it out. So you see the way it is. Now this area is going to be fuller, and this is how we're going to cut it out. So once you have this principle, you can actually do it the way it will suit you more. Remember to add your sewing allowance, right? When cutting on the fabric, remember to add your sewing allowance. So this is what we have. This is paper, and that is why it's not coming together. Now when cutting on the fabric, you're going to place your fabric into two so that this part will not be open. I have to cut it because it's just single, but while placing on the fabric, remember it's going to be like this. going to be this way. So here should not be open, right? This part should not be open. So here it is, I have the fabric this way. I'm going to fold it into two, like so. I'm going to fold it into two, and I will get this. Remember, this is the part that will be fixed to this part. So I'm going to place this side. This is the CB line that will not be open. I'll place it to the end of the fabric so that I will not have any need to cut it through. So the only part I'm going to be cutting is this part, like so, and like this, so that when I open it, it becomes one piece. And this part too, this is our pattern. So when you're going to be sewing this, this will be two, this will be placed side by side into two. So you're going to join this part that will have the zipper. After joining it, that is when you're going to join this from here to this part. Okay, I hope this is explanatory enough. I hope you understood so well how this is going to be fixed. So after cutting, we're going to, this to be into two, and this will equally open up. So we're going to fix it like this and the other way around. Okay, I hope we understand. So I'm going to use something to gum it now, and you see how it's going to come out. So this is how it's going to look like. Imagine the other parts being and how it's going to flow and drop. Okay, so I hope you've learned something from this tutorial, this very simple tutorial. And if this is something you appreciate, please leave a comment in the comment section. Subscribe if this is your first time, and we'll see you in the next video. Right, thank you for watching. Bye.